What does it mean? How do you know? How do you select data from more than one table? What will you use?
Joints.
Joints. That's good.
Joints.
We are going to use joints also. So it's like a view. Okay, assume like a view. In our view, we write a view command, right? Create view, view name. Similarly, cursor also. So cursor is a, but view is for working. Use it for security feature, but cursor is a different concept. So cursor is a mechanism by which we can fetch more than one row from one or more tables, and store in a virtual table or temporary storage, and then process one by one sequentially. So there are two types of cursors, like how you have views. One is readable cursor and updatable cursor. So in readable cursor, what are the DML commands you can do?
Select.
Then what? Select and
Group by, order by.
only select. I'm talking about DML commands. So you understand my question very clearly. There are only 4 DML commands. Everyone knows.
Sir.
Updatable cursor means you can do.
Insert, update, delete.
Okay, update, delete, insert is a different concept. Okay, insert this singleton insert always. We are not going to use cursor for inserting because cursor is only for mass select and mass update and mass delete. Okay, as I told you earlier, mass select cannot be done. Mass update and mass delete is not allowed. So for doing this, we have a cursor. So cursor is a mechanism by which we can fetch more than one row at a time, more than one row, and store in a virtual table, and then process one by one sequentially from top to bottom. Sequentially means how you process a PS file. It's very easy. So there are two types of cursors. One is used for only reading. Okay, we used to call as fetch. Okay, fetch is nothing but select. It's like select, and then update and delete. My keyboard is creating issue. Okay, fetch up. Okay, there are 4 steps involved. There are 4 steps involved in a cursor. 4 steps. First step is declare a cursor. So whenever you go for anything, we are going to declare. Okay, declaration and then use it. Anything is going to be declaration and then using. So declare the cursor and then fetch the cursor, fetch data from cursor. Sorry, there are 5 steps in fact. Open, okay, only 4 steps. Declare the cursor and then open the cursor. Open cursor. It's like opening a file, PS file. Okay, you know how to handle PS file, right? It's very easy. So similarly, we are going to use cursor. Okay, so it's very easy because you know how to handle PS file. So declare the cursor, open the cursor, fetch cursor, fetch cursor. How many times? Fetch cursor how many times?
Until the status is called.
Until in a loop. Until what? Because we are going to fetch how many rows? More than one row. Okay, it's going to be in a loop. Until what? Until end of virtual table. Okay, until end of virtual table. How do you know end of virtual table is reached? How do you know end of virtual table is reached? Jagavati Babu. Using what? How do you know? How do you know file? Okay, it's going to be in DB2 is going to be SQL
SQL
code.
code.
SQL code. Can you guess the number? I told in a flash. Rachana, can I guess what is the number? SQL code. End of table. But yesterday I showed you. I told. I think. So end of SQL code is going to be 100. Okay, end of, how do you know end of table is reached? By way of SQL code 100. And finally, close cursor, and that's all, close cursor. Very easy. Okay, like it's like a PS file. So cursor is a mechanism by which we can retrieve more than one row at a time from one or more tables. If you want to have more tables, you are going to have joins. So you are going to declare in similar way like view. Okay, similar way like view, and store in a virtual table, and then process one by one sequentially from top to bottom till end of table is reached. So there are 4 steps involved: declare, open, fetch in a loop, and then close. Suppose if you are going to do update or delete, you have to, after fetching, you have to update or delete. Okay, but this update and delete is not the regular singleton update or singleton delete. Okay, this update and delete is going to be different. It is updating through cursor, like how we have updated a view updated physical table through view. Similarly, we can update a physical table through virtual table. So this update and delete is not singleton update, like update table set column name equal to value, where key equal to value. That's a singleton update. Here this update command and delete command are different. It's through cursor. We have to give a keyword called where current of cursor. Okay, that's a syntax. So I'll tell you the syntax. But this update and delete is not singleton update. It's a different update. We are updating the physical table through the virtual table. So after fetching, we are going to decide whether you are going to update or delete, then do the appropriate operation. So these are the 4 steps involved. Major steps is declare the cursor, then open the cursor and fetch in a loop until SQL code equal to 100, and finally close the cursor. It's like isn't it like a PS file? Same thing we did, right? Open file, read file in a loop until end of file. End of file is known by file status 10, and finally close the file. Okay, now I'll tell you how to declare the cursor. It's very easy. So it's very easy. I'll try the syntax. So declare cursor name. I think for select and the query. So this is a declare. Remember, any SQL statement should be within exec SQL and end exec. So declare cursor name. For example, the cursor name will be like this. If you are going to create a cursor for policy table, it's going to be policy underscore cursor. That's a nomenclature we use in projects. If you're going to declare for a claims table, claim underscore cursor, or employee underscore cursor, bonus underscore cursor, something like this. You can have as many cursors you want in a program. Okay, you can have as many cursors you want. A cursor is going to create a virtual table and store in virtual memory, and it is going to process one by one sequentially, like how you process the PS file. Syntax is high level syntax is declare cursor name, for select, and then the query. This query can have anything. It can have order by class, group by class, where condition. It can have any classes like order by, group by, having. It can have joins. It can have union. What else we learned? It can have subquery. I will tell you subquery tomorrow, etc. So you can have anything. And remember, I told there are 2 types of cursors. One is readable cursor and updatable cursor. Can you tell me when a cursor is readable cursor and when it is an updatable cursor?
By using select readable.
What?
By using select class or readable. Cursors.
See, don't think about, you're not understanding. You're not understanding the concept. This is how we declare what what it is going to do. Cursor is a mechanism by which we can retrieve more than one row and store in a virtual table. So what are you going to retrieve? So whatever you are going to retrieve, you are going to tell in declare cursor. So whatever you are going to retrieve, we mention in declared cursor. We may mention using select command only. Since you are writing select command, it doesn't mean it's a readable cursor. For any cursor, we are going to write select command. Okay, you have to understand the concepts very clearly. For any cursor, this is how we declare. It could be a readable or updatable, doesn't matter. But for any cursor, we are going to write select command. Okay, so this select command is going to decide, tell the system which are the rows are candidate for the virtual table. Okay, and then once you create the table, so it can be either fetched only or it could be fetched and updated. And if it can be only fetched, it means it's a readable cursor. If it can be fetched and updated, it's a updatable cursor. Don't confuse here. Don't confuse, since we are writing select here, it's going to be a readable cursor. It's not. The cursor, based on the conditions we use, decide whether it's a readable or updatable cursor. And always we have to go and write select command here, like how we wrote view. Okay, so don't get really confused. You have to be very clear in understanding the concepts. So understanding concepts are very important than anything else. If you understand the basic fundamental concepts, the remaining you can learn by yourself. If you are not clear in the fundamental concepts, then you cannot, even if you work hard, you cannot, learn more. So can anyone tell me what is a readable cursor? When we call a cursor is a readable cursor, when we call a cursor updatable cursor? Harindra, can you tell me when it is a readable cursor? Can you guess? It's similar to a view. I'll give a hint. I will ask Mrityunjay. Mrityunjay, can you answer?
Based on the key.
Not based on the key. See, I told it's like a view. Similar to a view. So you have to do some homework. Okay, you guys, you have to do some homework. So unless you do homework, you'll forget everything. Make sure you see the documents I have given based on data. Mahabub, can you answer? Can you try? Mahabub? Or Shravanti, Kalyani, can you try? When do you call a cursor as a readable cursor or updatable cursor? I gave a hint already. It's like a view. Mahabub, are you there?
When it can fetch the data only.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, it is going to get the data for sure. It's readable or updatable, doesn't matter. This is
Yes,
how
sir,
we
it is
declare.
going to use select string.
See, why are you again telling this? It is going to use only select statement because select statement says what are the candidates for the table, virtual table. And the virtual table can be readable, can be updatable based on what you use in select statement. It's like a view. I gave a hint very clearly. Still you are getting confused. I told you, don't tell about this.
When it stores the data.
Sir, we can retrieve the data to the virtual table and we cannot process it, just we can display it.
That is right. You are telling I'm saying when a cursor is readable.
When we
Tarun,
use
can you
only
answer?
not null.
When you have,
Not null columns.
that is for updatable. When you have not null columns,
When it have default,
all not null columns of, not all not null columns, need not have not null columns because we are just going to delete. So when it is going to have only one table, no order by, group by, no joins, no union, etc. So now what is readable cursor?
If it's having group by
If it is
group
having
by order,
group by
group by
ordered by.
or order by, etc. Joins,
unique, joins.
union, etc. Yeah. So see, by default the cursor is readable cursor because default in the sense we are going to use group by, order by, joins, union, etc. And the cursor becomes an updatable cursor if you are going to use only one table and there is no order by, group by, join, union, etc. So this is how we declare a cursor. A cursor is always going to have select statement. Don't think if you write select statement, it's going to be readable. It is going to be readable provided it has group by or order by or joins or unions, etc. If it's going to be updatable, the table, virtual table, whichever is used, created based on this selection criteria, it's going to be updatable if there is only one table involved and no order by, group by, joins or unions. Okay, this select statement is going to tell the selection criteria of what you are going to retrieve from one or more tables, and that data is going to be processed one by one. So you have to understand what clearly. So declaration is cursor. Declare cursor is going to retrieve whatever we want from one or more tables and store in a virtual memory as a virtual table, and then place the cursor in first row. And every fetch is going to fetch one row from into the program like a read statement, and then you are going to do fetch in a loop until end of table is virtual table is reached, and finally you are going to close the cursor. It's exactly same like PS5, so nothing different when compared to PS5. Okay, now this is the command. Probably I'll just write a small program and show you what is the syntax. Okay, we'll take a small table, exec SQL. So declare cursor cursor for select. Say we have a table. Okay, select id, name from table, table. Suppose I am going to process only mail records where gender equal to I told you can use any classes and joins, unions, etc. You can have any number of tables. You can have up to 15 tables in declare cursor. So end exec. This is how we declare a cursor. So declare cursor is given in which section or which division? Declare cursor is going to be given in which division or which section?
Working storage.
Okay, data division, working storage section. What about open, fetch and close?
Procedure division.
Procedure division. Just think and answer, okay? Someone has created the command, someone has created a language. Okay, they are not superhumans, came from different planet. And do you think it's very difficult to understand? Someone like us has created a programming language so that everyone can use. Okay, it's very easy. Just think do some analysis, it will come easily. So now, okay. So data division. So it can be given in data division as well as procedure division. Okay. This can be given in either data division or procedure division. But today we are going to use only working storage section, and declaring a cursor in procedure division is little different. Not different. The syntax remains same. There are very little scenarios where we declare a cursor in procedure division. Otherwise, it's going to be only always in working storage section. So I'll tell you the scenarios later on which scenario we'll be using the declare cursor in procedure division. So right now we'll define this in working storage section and remaining in procedure division. So we are going to declare the cursor. Declare cursor is going to tell what are the candidates for the virtual table. Okay, because you are going to do mass select. So just select whichever you want and store in a virtual table. Then you process the virtual table. How do you process which commands? Open, fetch and close. Only once you are going to open, fetch is going to be in a loop and then close. Suppose let's take the virtual table, let's take the employee table we have. If you write like this, how many rows will come into a virtual table?
20 no,
Something. Some 9 girls are there, I think. So 16 or 17, whatever. Okay. So we are going to process only male rows. So this is going to be in working storage section. Now let me write the open. Very easy. Open is going to be again very easy. All are very easy commands. Open M cursor. I think open cursor, declare cursor name, open cursor. Okay, open cursor name. So you have to check for SQL code. Okay, if SQL code is 0, then open is successful. Open is successful. Display open is successful. I'll write a program and show you. Exec SQL. I'm not going to write, but I will show you a program. I have a program already. Open cursor and then fetch. Fetch cursor name into. So generally we fetch data into what?
host variables.
Host variables. So what will be the host variables for emp id, emp name?
HV MBID
colon hv emp id comma colon hv emp name. That's all. End exec. So what are the SQL codes you are supposed to check?
0 and 100.
0, 100, other. 0 means fetch successful. 100 means end of table is reached. Other means fetch error. Okay. And finally, what we are going to do?
close cursor.
Close cursor. That's all. Close cursor name. So this is how we do mass select. Very easy. First you are going to declare using a cursor. Declare cursor name for select the select query. Select query can be any big query. What it does, it is going to select these statements and store in a virtual table. And then in fetch we are going to get that data. Okay. So I'll just explain one by one. So declare cursor name. This is a cursor name. So this what each and every step is doing. Okay, declare cursor is going to just declare the query in the working storage or procedure division. So the syntax is declare cursor name for the select query. So but this query will not get executed in declare statement when declare statement is executed. And basically declare statement is part of working storage section. It is not being executed. Okay, only the commands in procedure division are executed. And in open statement execute open cursor name, what it does when open statement gets executed by system, it is going to execute the query now. select query now and create the virtual table and then place the cursor in first row. Now the table is created. So whatever rows you want to do processing in the program, whatever mask select they are going to do, it is being selected and then created in a virtual table, and the cursor is placed in first row. So you have to remember when we learnt, read PS read, physical sequential file read. What it does, it reads wherever the cursor is present and pushes the cursor to next row. Similarly, here the fetch command is going to fetch data into the program from the table wherever the cursor is present and then pushes the cursor to next row. Similarly, suppose if there are 10 rows, how many times it is going to fetch successfully? If there are 10 rows in virtual table, how many times it is going to have a loop?
11 times.
11 times. That's good. 10 times it's going to retrieve data properly, and the 11th time it is going to say end of table is reached, and then we are going to set the SQL code 100, and we are going to come out of the loop, and then we have to do the close cursor. So isn't it very easy? In fact, it's very easy. And if the cursor, as we discussed before, if the cursor is an updatable cursor, after fetching you can do update or delete optionally. Okay, if you are going to do update or delete, you can do update or delete optionally. So I'll tell you the command. It's very simple. So update and delete. After fetching, you can do an update or delete, provided the cursor is an updatable cursor. Syntax is exec SQL update table name Can you tell me the syntax for singleton update? Hemant, singleton update. Singleton.
Set.
Update table name set. Column name
Column name
Equal to
value or host variable, whatever.
Where?
Or HP. You can have comma and have whatever you want. Okay, we can have multiple updates. Then where primary key equal to value, right? But here, since we are going to update through cursor, we have a different syntax. You have to give one syntax called where current of cursor name. Here it's m underscore cursor. So what this command is going to do, after fetching, we are going to decide whether we are going to update or not. After fetching, if you execute this command, it is going to update the row wherever the cursor is present. Obviously, it's going to be the fetched record. Okay, fetched row. So after fetched row, if you update, it's going to change the fetched row in the physical table through virtual table. Okay, physical table gets updated through virtual table, provided it's a updatable cursor. It doesn't have order by, group by, joins, unions, etc. It's a straightforward, simple table, simple declare cursor query. So update table set column name equal to value or host variable, where current of cursor name. Similarly, we have delete command. Can you tell me what will be delete command? Kiran, can you guess? Yes, Kiran. Delete.
Delete.
Then what?
table name.
From table names.
From table name. Then where?
column
what?
name is equal to
See, I'm talking about delete
Current.
through cursor.
current of cursor.
Current of cursor name. So concentration is missing. When you are listening to music, TV is going on in some places. Okay, concentration is important. End of the day, if you learn, see, there are plenty of US opportunities if you if you know mainframe, if you're strong in mainframe. Okay, most of the Indians who went in 90s went because of mainframe. And that time, if you know only TS JCL, it's enough. But today, it's a highly competitive, so you have to be very strong in basic concepts, and you have to be more analytical. And client should like you. There are plenty of factors now, so make sure you pay attention. You have, I mean, so you wanted to go to Las Vegas. If you want to go to Las Vegas, what you have to do? Make sure you work hard. It's not going to be easy. Hurry, is it right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Hmm. Satish, you want to go to Las Vegas or not? You would have seen in movies, right?
Yes, sir.
So you want to go to Las Vegas? There will be a lot of lights, plenty of lights
Yes.
you would have seen in movies. I mean Times Square, but Times Square is, I mean, okay, but Las Vegas cannot be. It's full of lights, like what we have. I mean, more than many times when compared to Durga Puja. Durga Puja is a very famous festival in Kolkata. Even I have been to Durga Puja once. I was there at that time. So, but anyway, if you want to go to Las Vegas, you have to make sure you work hard and also work smart. So I'll just revise. So a cursor is a mechanism by which we are going to fetch rows from more than one table into a virtual table and then process the virtual table one by one sequentially from top to bottom. Why do we need cursor? Because mass select cannot be done in program, because program cannot doesn't understand how many rows are coming into the program, because mass select can retrieve in millions of rows, and we have only one set of host variables. It can store only one row at a time. So mass select will fail with and give SQL code -811. Okay, and so mass update and mass delete are not allowed because it's a very risky command. We don't know what has happened. So we need to have a controlled update, controlled delete, and controlled update. So we go for cursor for mass update and mass delete as well. Okay, and we have cursor is a mechanism by which we can use this, retrieve the data into the virtual table. There are 4 steps involved: declare, first fetch, open, fetch, and close. Declare is for declaring the query. It's a selection criteria, whatever you want for the virtual table. Okay, and then we are going to open the cursor. So open cursor, what it does, it's going to execute the query and then create the virtual table in a virtual memory and then place the cursor in first row. Then fetch cursor is going to execute in a loop. It's going to retrieve first row and then move the cursor to next row. And next fetch is going to retrieve second row and move the cursor to second row and so on. Where end of table is reached, we have to come out of the loop based on the SQL code 100. That's how will know that end of table is reached. So after fetch has been done, we can close. Suppose if the cursor is an updatable cursor, we can do updation through cursor. The syntax is update, same syntax, same syntax. Instead of var primary key equal to value, we give var current of cursor name. Okay, var current of cursor name. So update table name, set column name equal to value, comma column name equal to value, var current of cursor name. Similarly, delete from table name, var current of cursor name. But for update and delete, the declare cursor will be a little changing. Okay, declare cursor will be little changing. I'll just write it declare cursor again. So declare the cursor name cursor. Let me open. I have a couple of PPTs. So declare cursor name or cursor name cursor. I have to just check.
Cursor name.
Probably this PC laptop has got virus. Or declare cursor name cursor. Okay, here it's not declare cursor name. Even here I have to change. Sorry for that. Just it's going to be declare cursor name cursor. So this is the name. Cursor name is a cursor. Declare cursor name cursor. Similarly here. So declare cursor name cursor for the select query. In select query at the end we'll be giving one of these three parameters. We write either for fetch only. Okay, I'll just delete. We write for fetch only. We are going to do only fetch command. And we write for update. If you are going to do a delete, fetch and delete. Okay, and we are going to write for update of column names. Column 1, column 2, etc. This is you are going to write when you are going to do fetch and update. So these are three variables, three parameters you are going to give as a part of declare cursor. Okay, depends on what operations you are going to do in the program. If you're just going to fetch, if you're just going to only fetch, you just write for fetch only. Even if you don't write for fetch only also, it will work. Okay, I'll just tell that even if you don't write for fetch only, you can fetch and delete also. But update cannot be done unless you write for update of class. For update of class is necessary in declare cursor statement. Whichever columns you want to update, through update table query, you have to write in for update of class. If you don't write for update of here, and if you write update query like this, it is going to fail. Okay, so if you are going to update any column in a table, a declare cursor query should have for update of class, and you have to mention the column names you are going to update through the virtual table. Okay, now I'll show you a program. It's going to be very easy.
If a program issues a select into statement and retrieves several rows all at once, then this would result in an error like -81, -811.
Go ahead fully.
Okay. DB2 has a mechanism called a cursor that enable an application to retrieve a set of rows and then process the set one row at a time. By using cursor, the program can retrieve each row sequentially from the result table until end of data.
until SQL code equal to 100.
Until SQL code is equal to 100.
Okay, this is why we need cursor, because we are going to mass select and process. And this is not, I mean, don't look at this document. Okay, there are 4 cursor control statements: declare, open, fetch, and close. And even this also just ignore. Probably can continue. Just continue. For update of class.
For update of class, this class must be specified if you intend to update any of the rows in the identified table. For
So if
fetch
you are
only class,
that's what. If you are going to use update through where current of cursor, then you have to write a for update of class as a part of declare cursor, and you have to tell the columns you are going to update through where current of cursor. Otherwise, it will not allow you to update. For fetch only is optional. Yes, go ahead.
for fetch only class, it is used to indicate that there is no intention to update the table. When it is coded, DB2 may perform a block fetch to improve efficiency. Read only results table.
Okay,
The
leave it.
results. Okay, sir.
So it's a performance factor. If you write for fetch only, because if you don't write for fetch only, you can do fetch and update. But if you are going to just do fetch in your program, if you write for fetch only, it is going to a fetch called block fetch, so it improves efficiency. Because if you don't write for fetch only, you can do fetch and delete. System doesn't know unless and until it comes across delete command. The system, won't have some pointers. So those pointers can be avoided if you write for fetch only. If you have decided you are going to only read operation.
Okay, sir. DB2 process the select statement within the declare cursor statement to identify the results table. This table is placed in virtual storage. The format of the open statement is exec SQL open cursor name and execute.
And cursor name give underscore. Okay. Any DB2 variable give underscore. Any COBOL plain variable give hyphen. Okay. Its cursor hyphen name is given, but don't. Your cursor name should be a full word underscore cursor. So if it's employee table, employee underscore cursor. So here it is given DB2 process the select statement within the declare cursor to identify results table. So the results table is created only in open cursor. Open is going to execute the query, create the virtual table, place the cursor in first row. Just go ahead, continue.
This select statement within the declare cursor statement defines the results table, but DB2 does not retrieve any data for the application program until a fetch is issued. Fetch statement moves the contents of a selected rows into your program. The fetch statement has the following format: exec SQL fetch cursor name into host variable 1,
host variable 2, and so on. The fetch statement moves the contents of selected row into a program. So from where it is going to move into a program? Virtual table to program host variable. Okay, from virtual table to host variable, and then move the cursor to next row. One fetch is going to retrieve one row from virtual table into the program, and we are going to do the fetch in a loop. Okay, and finally close the cursor.
Close statement to close the cursor. The format of the close statement is as follows: exec SQL close cursor name and exec.
That's all. Very, very simple. Okay, first declare. In the declare, we give a select statement, whichever the criteria, and then open, fetch in a loop, and then close. And if you are going to do only fetch, give for fetch only. And if you are going to update through cursor, give for update of class and give for update of column names. And if you are going to do delete through cursor, give for update as a keyword in declare statement. So there are three. So I'll show a program. So this program, it's a read program. So what it does, it selects and display in spool, I think. Okay, write into a file. So this program, I mean, we have an input as table. Yesterday you wrote a program, right, where input is a file and output is a table. So you got data was in a PS file, and the table was empty. So what you did, you read the file, read record, and inserted into table. Now what we are going to do, we are going to, from table we are going to write into a file. So input is table, output is a file. So what are we supposed to do? Suppose assume employee table as we are going to display or write into a file. What are the things you are supposed to do? Satish, what are the things you are supposed to do in any DB2 program? Include member name.
Include SQLCA.
And include SQLCA. So we are going to declare cursor name cursor for select column names from table. So there is no where condition, there is no group by, order by, joins, etc. What it is going to do, if you write a query like this, what it is going to do, Manasak, what it is going to do, this query, how many rows it is going to fetch? Kiran?
Going to declare, sir. Select 4 rows.
Okay. How many rows it's going to? Rows is
4
horizontal. Okay. How many rows? I'm asking how many rows?
4, sir.
How many rows? Rows means row records.
25, sir.
25.
To the end of the record, sir.
Yes, sir. Both are correct. Okay. Here we are 25, but its actual correct answer is end of record. So it's going to give all the rows into a table, virtual table. Where it is going to give in open statement. So this query decides what are the candidates for records we are going to store in virtual table. So in open cursor, first is going to open cursor, fetch cursor in a loop, and then close cursor and finally stop. Open cursor, it's going to open, just open cursor name. You cannot write like this. You have to give evaluate SQL code. When SQL code equal to 0, when 0, you have to write display cursor open successfully. When other cursor not open successfully. You have to write properly. Okay, don't write like what is given here. And then after open, it's going to fetch cursor name into host variables. Q comma, and the sequence and number of host variables you have mentioned in fetch, and sequence and number of host variables you have mentioned in select should be exactly same. Otherwise, you are going to get error. Okay, I'll just repeat. The number of variables here is how much? 4. The sequence is number, name, salary, DOJ. And in fetch also, it should be 4. And it's going to be same sequence. Number, name, salary, DOJ. If there's a mismatch, your program is going to fail probably while running, not while compiling. Compiling might work, but while after running or bind also it may fail. So remember always the number, the variables whichever you are given in select are the only variables in virtual table, are the only variables you are going to fetch into the program. And give select, select the variables whichever you want. Don't select all the variables. Okay, you need not select all the variables, whichever you want from one or more tables. After fetching, anyway, here we are writing into a file, so there are write record, and finally close. Now let's see how to update through cursor. If you're going to use update, you have to use for update of class in the declare cursor statement. Okay.
Update statement. Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, audible.
We can update the data of the current row retrieved by a program by using the update statement.
Fully.
Format XXX SQL, update table name, set column A is equal to value, column B is equal to value, where current of cursor name, end exec.
Current of cursor name. Okay. Then
each column to be updated must have been named previously in the for update of clause of the declare cursor statement.
So you have to give for update of column names. For example, suppose I assume you are going to update update salary. Okay, update salary. What you are going to do? You are going to retrieve salary also, comma m cell. Here you write for update of m cell, and here since you have added m cell, colon hv m cell. You understand? And then you can write update command. In update command, it's going to be, so only if you write for update of which columns you are going to update, you're able to issue update statement. So in update, here update query is going to be update table name set msal equal to host variable. Already we have retrieved some data. Suppose I am incrementing salary by 1000. So we can say add 1000 to hvm cell, because after fetching this will be having the current value. Now we are adding 1000 to the current value. So update table name set column name equal to host variable dot give where current of cursor name, current of emp cursor, exec sql and index. So this is how you are tried update statement. Okay, update can be done through cursor provided it's a you are going to use only one table. So similarly, we can delete the current row retrieve by program by delete statement. Delete from table name where current of cursor name. So after row has been deleted, you cannot update or delete another row using that cursor. Okay, all these are not required. Okay. So this is about cursors. So cursor is a mechanism by which we retrieve more than one row or create a virtual table and process one by one sequentially. And there are 4 steps involved, 4 major steps. One is declaring the cursor. It's going to tell the select statement. It's going to say what are the rows you have to select and store in a table. And based on select statement, we can identify whether it's going to be a readable or updatable cursor. If you're going to use order by, group by, etc., it's going to be only readable cursor. And in the procedure division, on the one side, open. There are 3 statements. You are right. Open cursor name. Open cursor is going to execute the query and create the virtual table and place the cursor in first row, but it is not going to retrieve data from virtual table into program. A retrieval is going to be done through using fetch. Fetch is going to retrieve data from virtual table into the program, into host variables. The number of variables you are given in fetch, the sequence in which you are given in fetch should be exactly same as the number of variables and sequence in which you are given in select statement of declare cursor. Remember, whatever variables you want, you just give in select statement. Don't need not bring all the variables. Whichever you don't want, don't bring it to the program. Then do fetch in the loop and finally close the cursor. Okay. So here it's clearly given. I'll share these slides. So SQL statements operate on a set of more of data and return a set of data. Host language operate on only one row at a time. Okay, host language, there is only one set of host variable in DCLgen. We don't have any occurs class. So singleton selects contain into class. If multiple rows are returned from select command, cursor need to be used for processing them. So cursor is a mechanism by which DB2 allows an application program to retrieve a set of rows, multiple rows, and process one row at a time. So DB2 uses cursors to navigate through a set of rows written by an embedded SQL select statement. Cursor can be compared to a pointer. If application program In application program, if select returns more than one row, then cursor must be used. So I'm just repeating this again and again because it's a very important concept. A cursor can be compared to a pointer. Once it has been defined, it can be used like a sequential file. That's what open, fetch in a loop, close. Cursor is opened, rows are fetched from one row at a time in a loop, and at the end, because at the end of processing, cursor is closed. So these are some statements. So declare a name is assigned for a particular SQL statement. SQL statement. Declare can be given in working storage section or procedure division. Open cursors. Open cursor readies the cursor for row retrieval. It builds a retrieval table, result table. However, it doesn't bring assign values to host variables. Assigning values to host variables is done by fetch statement. Fetch command returns data from resultant table one row at a time and then close. So this is structure of cursor: declare, open, fetch in a loop, close. So these are operations you can use. This is how we declare cursor name cursor for select a query. The query, any query you are written in Spoofy during your class, you can write here. So whatever data you got in Spoofy or QMF will be obtained in program in a virtual table, and then you can process one by one. So you understand how this query gets executed, what are the use of this query. This query is used to select the rows whichever you want to be processed in the program. Don't assume since you again select command here, can you use only select command in the program? It's not like that. And we use fetch command to retrieve rows from table into the program. So declare, open cursor name, fetch cursor name into host variables, close cursor name. So this is an example program where it includes SQL CA. See here, this one is hard coded. Okay, it's not copied. Instead of include member name, it has hard coded. So declare cursor name cursor for select number name from employee table. Open the cursor, fetch cursor, and finally close. So update. If you are going to use update, you have to use for update of class in declare cursor and where current of class in update statement. If for update of class is not given, it is going to throw an error when you are going to do update. So it may not be a compilation error, it might be a runtime error. Okay, it may not be a compilation error, it might be a runtime error. And when you get any runtime error, you are supposed to check the SQL code against the document, SQL code document, and try to interpret the message, error message, and then give the result. So a for update of class appears with select statement to indicate what columns can be updated when retrieved. So only these columns which are mentioned for update of class can be updated. The columns to be updated must be listed in for update of class. And where current of class. This class specifies the updation must happen on the record where the cursor is currently placed. Okay, where current of cursor name means wherever is currently placed. These are the rules for update. Select statement must be on a single table and not on a join. The declare cursor statement contains a subquery. It must not be on the same table as main query. Function like group by, distinct, order by cannot be used. Only those columns that are selected for update of class can be updated. Okay, these are some rules for creating an updatable cursor. Okay, updatable means either update command or delete command. So the structure is declare cursor name with update of class, open the cursor, fetch cursor in a loop. Fetch and update in a loop. Okay, fetch and update in a loop. After fetching, you are going to decide whether to update or not, and then update and finally close. So you are right for update of this variable. Open cursor, fetch cursor, for update, and then close. So this is the program. Whatever I have shown is in the program. This is a very good document. Okay, I'll share this presentation slide. Similarly, delete. So for delete, we are going to write for update. Only in the, even if you don't write for update, we can delete. By default, we can do fetch and update. If you don't write, if you write for fetch only you can do fetch. If you don't write any class, you can do fetch and update. But usually we follow standards. For fetch only is for fetching. For update of class have to be given for sure. For updating through cursor. And if you're going to delete some row from through cursor, you have to use for update class. Just for update. And here where current of cursor name. So declare cursor name. You have to write for update here. Open, fetch, delete, and close.